Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, the Wise Guy, and today's January 9th, 2025. Currently, over here on the West Coast, we are fighting a devastating and historic set of events that are being bogged down by logistic challenges and physical ones. Instead of reaching over to our coast during this tragic set of circumstances, Donald Trump has made it a point to turn this into another political battle. So if you enjoy news, history, and Americana, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. Recently, I have done a number of videos detailing the tragic events that have occurred in LA with regards to the wildfires. Homes, neighborhoods, and entire communities have been destroyed in a matter of hours. This fire is one for the history books, as it has caused more destruction than anything in modern history for the city of LA. I have many friends who have been forced to abandon everything that they know and love with no expectation that they'll ever see it ever again. Yet, amidst the pain and suffering of so many Americans, the incoming president, Donald Trump, is blaming his political opponents and refusing to take responsibility. Also, the sky is blue and the grass is green. So let's debunk some of this bunk right out of the gate, because the claims that I'm seeing here are actually getting pretty stupid. First off, fire hydrants aren't running out of water as much as the tanks from which they draw the water are at higher elevations and having difficulty pumping more water into it than is being used. This is because of that magical force in the universe that we call gravity. It's indeed not because of some scary Democrat who went and took people's water away. The state does have water politics that go back generations, and it goes back to before when I was first stationed here in 2007. It also includes other Western territories. So if you want to have that discussion, it's probably best that you know more about it before you open your mouth. This is not Gavin Newsom's fault. I have my issues with that man, but I don't need to make up fairy tales to justify myself. Second, FEMA. Some folks are asking why there isn't enough FEMA funding. And first, let me clarify. There is, but throwing money onto an active wildfire doesn't necessarily help, as cash is historically flammable. If you are actually concerned about FEMA funding and these issues specifically, let's go back and take a look, shall we? Like much of the horse shit that came from Donald Trump prior to when his assertions that our federal government was taking Hurricane Helene money and diverting it to immigrants who don't need it, he and his Republican buddies are trying to manipulate the voters again. Since we all have such short memories, let me regale you a story of way back yonder. 4 months ago, Republicans were still kicking their funding bill can down the road and trying to figure out a stopgap. What did they leave out? All supplemental funding, including funding for FEMA. That's right. What money FEMA lacks is non-existent because of Republicans. It's gamesmanship. Right now, Donald Trump and his allies are already trying to muddy the water when it comes to this and other disasters that we're currently facing and struggling through. Why? Well, because Greenland and the Gulf of America seem to be really, really important right now. I know I seem a bit more colorful about this because it touches me personally. I saw the efforts that the entire country put up and tried desperately to help places like St. Pete, Sarasota, Manatee County, making sure people there got aid and help that they needed during the hurricanes just a few months ago. And now that we on the West Coast are struggling through horrific tragedy, the response to us is ridicule, lies, and unfounded criticisms from the incoming executive officer. And y'all, it is heartbreaking when I see so many who pride themselves in Southern heritage forget Southern hospitality while they wave their little Confederate flags as high as they can. People are dying. Neighborhoods are leveled. And Donald Trump and Republicans are playing fucking games and still trying to demonize us as we burn. Then his loyalists and sycophants are storming the social media landscape with their laughter at our expense. They're taking glee in our most desperate hours so they can try and justify their own ugly cruelty like a bunch of orcs bent on reckless hate. Yet, these are the same people who wish for us to just come together and be friends, not let political issues get between us, just because we don't agree. Here's your sign, MAGA. It isn't that we don't agree on simple things. It's because the movement that you live for has stripped you of all of your humanity. And no longer do your friends and family wish to associate with the likes of you. We are always expected to be the good guy and reach across the aisle, and at every turn our hands are smacked away. We are always expected to put politics aside at the height of national tragedy so as to overcome trivial matters, but in every opportunity that plays out, MAGA insists on being the worst that they can be. They spit in our faces and dump salt in our wounds. I would love to have a day where we can all come together and discuss policies and actual issues, but the problem is that a large number of people aren't interested in kindness toward their fellow Americans, and another solid portion didn't find the time or energy to get up to vote. And because of this lack of informed, engaged, and decent voting populace, we surrendered the power of this nation over to the group of people who relish in our suffering. I wish I had better news. I wish I could be in a better mood all the way around, but I'm just kind of tired of people priding themselves in being complete dickholes to one another. And now, one of our cities is burning to the ground, and we as Californians are being scoffed at and judged. So personally, I don't think I have it in me to be decent today. So I think it's probably best that I take a breather, sort this mess out in my head, because it is all too clear that the federal government is planning to abandon anyone who isn't aligned with them. And it's really a sad day in America when we can no longer depend on each other because the incoming federal government is too enthralled with renaming the Gulf of Mexico and invading our allies. Anyway, y'all come back now. You hear?